Hey, everybody, and welcome. So, here's a stream of my bikes. I have my Yukon Trail and my e-ride right here, and hopefully the mic come pick me up from distance. I'm not sure how well it's going to be able to do that. So this is my one big stream. I can move this closer. You're probably going to hear a lot of loud sounds. There. I don't think you'll be able to get me in the shot though. That's the problem. There. Maybe that'll work. Okay. So I'm in the shot too. Okay, first thing first. What to carry around with you when you go bike riding. It's best you carry lightweight tools that you can use to basically repair your bike on the fly. Basically, something simple like tightening your stem, your handlebars, maybe adjusting your brakes, stuff like that. Or being able to take off your rear tire or your front tire. If you have bolt-on ones, carry one of these around that have an adjustment wrench system to it, or even a small one that has one of those pivoting arms so you can grapple on and actually get into the bolt. And then if you have unique parts, take your unique tool with you. And if you have slime or any kind of stems, might need a replacement. Like sometimes you would have one of these. These are for replacing the inner piece of the, I forget what it was, the air valve piece. This is to remove it and basically put a new one on if you need to. So carry this around with you, even though you might never need to use it. It's still good to have. And then a multi-tool. Mainly, I would say carry a multi-tool as big as it can possibly go. This one is a 31 multi-tool from Top Peak. It's their Allen version 2, I believe. The old version. It's not like the third generation or such forth. So it has 2 removable parts. So you have your hex drivers and whatnot. And then you have your sort of wrench and hex driver at the same time. So this allows you to basically use those kind of tools. Actually, no, it's only it's a 6 head, so you can't use those. You need a 4 head, I believe. But you still have that kind of ability there. And then you have your other hex tools. This one also has 2 other hex pieces on this end. Let me see if I can get these out. So you have 2 more hex tools here, about 4 here, and this allows you to even adjust the tool itself to tighten the load or the amount of play that's in the drivers itself. And then you have a knife, you have your bike chain cutter tool, and then I don't know what this is actually for. Maybe this is to like hold down a cable, like grip the cable and then pull it back or something like that. Cable tensioner or something like that. And then you got your can opener or a standard flathead screwdriver system. You also have your knife that is actually the one that's, you have to push this down to actually get your knife out. And all these can lock, so basically like take this out, it locks into position. These don't, but these do. And then you have your wrenches, 8, 9 millimeter, and 10, and then you have these little micro kind of wrench pieces. Those really don't help, especially for bigger applications that require this. So this multi-tool is something that is really great, and also I haven't actually got to use this fully, but it does come with one of these little kind of play wrenches, which is interesting. And then it locks into position like that, and it has a little belt carrier. So there's other tools you can have also, but you mainly want to stick lightweight, and you mainly want to keep at least a multi-tool and a adjustable wrench with you at all times for on-the-fly tuning and such forth. And like I said, also your special tool. And if you have quick releases, especially quick release skewers that lock, that have a special lock, those also. And then if you have anything else you want to adjust or basically repair a bike on the go, well, not repair a bike, like basically modify another bike on the go, like taking one part from another part to the bike and doing that, basically outside shop working, mobile shop worker, basically, you want to call it. Obviously carry some pliers, cable cutters, and more hex adjustable tools, so you have more flexibility there. And obviously a ratchet. I know a lot of people are going to say also, don't forget about carrying a torque wrench or a hex bolt wrench that gives torque. Yeah, but it's best you learn how to torque your bolts by hand, and mainly just focus on carrying something portable than having to carry super amount of big tools, because especially if you're on the go, the lighter you can go or the smaller you can go, the less payload you have to worry about and hauling more stuff. Because even some of these tools, like this wrench, is over 4 times heavier than this. So be aware of that. Now, people talk about upgrading Walmart bikes and making them as great as a high quality mountain bike, or aka a super pricey mountain bike, because nobody wants to go into a bike shop and see their fantastic bike, but it's like $1,000 to $3,000 or $5,000 or even $8,000. It's just like why is it so priced? I mean, is it good? Is it really that worth that much price for that kind of bike? And I know a lot of you guys are gonna say, yeah, duh, it's $1,000, it's like over $3,000, so yeah, it's gonna be worth it. No. Even high priced bikes can be as crappy as a Walmart bike. Yeah. It depends on the frame, the build, and how it actually performs. So even a Walmart bike can actually perform way better than a shop bike. It just depends on how you actually ride it, perform it, and upgrade it. And I know a lot of the higher bikes are obviously going to have somewhat high components, but somewhat of that is maybe you don't want those components. Maybe you like this, a quail stem design. Maybe you don't want disc brakes. Maybe you want V brakes, but yet you're getting a bike that basically has none of that. So it's like, where's the ability that has the old-fashioned stuff that you actually like, but basically it'd be a shop bike? Well, you can't do that anymore because all bike shops decide to be stupid and basically not have any kind of customizability for the liking of the person. So instead, they force you to have threadless, and they force you to have disc brakes instead of basically having the customizability to have either V brakes, disc brakes as an option. So your best bet would be to obviously go for the cheap end, which has all those components, and then upgrade it. And then you can upgrade even though it's not going to have threadless capabilities and the disc brakes and whatnot. It'll be to your liking, and it'll have all component systems as a high-end bike. Just won't be super flashy because you have the V brakes and whatnot. But they fit your style and they fit your liking to it. Especially for full stem systems, these are a lot more rugged and much more hard metal compared to threadless that actually have a lot of hollowness drilled into them to make them basically lightweight, but they don't really have much metal to them in areas. So these are built to have and withstand a lot of use. This adjustable thing was about less than $20, and this thing, even though it's made with aluminum, I believe, it's really thick metal. I mean, you can literally beat the living snot out of somebody with this, and it'd be better than a bat. Literally. That's how great the metal in this component is. And also, you have the wedge tool, so you just slide it in instead of having a threadless system, which has to rely on keeping the actual stem itself, aka this piece, on the bike. If that doesn't happen and your little cap top ends up falling off or maybe too loose, your entire fork just, and there you go. Compared to a threaded system that basically, if this gets loose, you have no issue with your tire wheel falling off and you have problems. I mean, sure, the anglement of this is going to go off angle, but you have that ability. And for anybody that's also wondering, I know this is only a 2-screw piece ability, but that's all it needs. It doesn't really need that much for, because again, this has much more metal to it, and it's also can be torqued down a lot more harder, even if it's using a smaller diameter piece around here. That actually has a lot more metal because it's much more confined versus having more area. Like the threadless systems, they have bigger tubes, but they don't have as much metal to them because they're more wider. So having to torque down stuff more harder on them is going to basically crack them or have other problems compared to basically torquing one of these down and you have no problems. And also, old-fashioned friction shifters. I'm actually going to replace my twist shifter for this because I actually like having precision abilities, friction shift between gears. That's much more smoother. So even though a lot of people go, oh, well, let's go with a six axis, whatever, shifters or jazz like that. This gives me precision control over my shifting ability. So take this off, take off the shifter, take the cable out. Hopefully I can take the cable out and just switch it over. Actually, I really just switch it over. No, I can't really just switch over. No, that's going to be a problem. I'll put it on the lowest. Oh, I see. Highest goes there. So that means I was thinking about going to full stem because I wanted to use this, but this bike is a threadless. And having to switch over O-rings, research bearings, and whatnot, it's really annoying. And I don't even know if the bearing is compatible with it. So that's why it's kind of annoying to go with threadless systems, because sometimes you don't have the flexibility to actually use all the good old stuff. And then I like this quill stem because unlike other even threadless stem ones, I don't think that they have this little piece on there. They have this and they have this side, but I don't think they have this little bottom piece. And what that does is basically, if this entire thing is loose and this is wobbling, this piece is not going to allow it to drop down. So if I'm putting all my hand pressure on the stem and pushing down on the handlebars, even though this is loose, that little locking nut is not going to allow it to go down, because you can see there's little ridges. And that causes it to prevent it to go anywhere other than up. So yeah, even though it uses a smaller diameter thing, again, it's much more easier. So when you go to compounds like threadless, cassettes, and disc brakes, you think they're amazing. They might be a little bit cool, but you also have to think about the tuning and repairability and maintenance of it all. For cassettes and disc brakes, they require a lot more maintenance than V-brakes and freewheel systems. And also having to repair a cassette system, well, let's just say it's not easy. Because basically the cassette is built into the wheel hub compared to a freewheel hub, which basically just threads onto. There's a bunch of crap in my mouth. Freewheel just threads onto the hub itself, and then all the components for the drive system are actually in that thread piece. Compared to a cassette that's built onto the hub, and then all you have to do is just basically put in a compatible teeth gearing set system and just slide it on and then lock it. But if you want to repair it or maintain it, you basically have to take off those little gear pieces. You have to unscrew the innards of the actual hub itself to get into the cassette, and then basically mess with having ball bearings all over the place and jazz like that, compared to a freewheel. If it breaks or has any other issues or maintain, which you just need to give it a little grease, then basically all you have to do is just unthread it, throw it away, buy a new one, and pretty much any kind of freewheel is compatible with any kind of thread-on system. So Even if you want to go 1 speed from a 7 speed, you can do that without having to buy a conversion kit. You just buy a standard 1 speed freewheel and boom, it threads on, there you go, no issues. Or if you want to go from 7 speed to 6 speed, you can do that. Or if you want to go from SRAM to Shimano or such forth, you can do that. Compared to a cassette, if it's SRAM or if it's Shimano, you have to actually stick to that kind of format because the teeth in the cassettes are specific for those kind of systems. So you can't switch out from SRAM to Shimano gearing settings ability for that. So if you want to go for a higher gear ratio on the small system, then you basically have to find the paddle's gear ratio for that. For, say, if you have a SRAM, then you have to look at SRAM systems. You can't just go, oh, hey, I find one that's cheaper for Shimano, but I want to put it on a SRAM system. Can't do that. And not to mention, the ability for freewheels are actually a lot cheaper. For just swiping from one freewheel to another, you can buy one for like $20 pretty easily. So the difference there is quite night and day there. But I mean, it's cool. You have more gearing, especially for cassettes. I think the highest you can go for a freewheel is 7, and then a cassette goes from 8 to 10. And then disc brakes, there's pros and cons, like I mentioned in another video. And then threadless to thread systems, there's going to be pros and cons both systems. I mean, a lot of people don't like quill stems, but then quill stems do have much more toughness to them, and they're a lot more easier to work with than threadless. Anyways, I gotta get my shit here. Oh, I forgot to get another topic. Since I got my phone out here, I want to talk about this. So, hopefully my system doesn't crash. Yes, this is a 2-in-1 system, so it's a tablet and a laptop itself. What? There is no other program using my rear camera. Of your for this bike, and 2, you can see the width of the quick release. Now I'm gonna unscrew this and show you what I mean. Watch the axle head. Let me get this stable. Now this is a quick special quick release tool. So Now I'm unscrewing it, but you probably noticed that it's not real. When I got the bike, it actually has a it had a smaller axle, a large axle ability to it, but the frame had to be squished down to be able to um, see if I can just wedge it out. So this tire is sort of designed more like for a plus size tire system. So you can see how long the axle is compared to the front end. This tire is actually built for a 24 longer than it should be. So that means this has to crunch itself in. You never want to do that, especially with kind of bikes that are more aluminum and also they have tire. Don't try and do that. Basically, crunch down the to get the tire on. You can see actual skewer itself. There's a little tiny thread piece right here that your tire actually sits on for the frame. This entire piece never sits on this, ever. It's supposed to sit on this piece. So if you're having your entire tire sit on this, you're basically going to bust yourself. Because how thin skewers are basically, I mean, all that weight on that is going to snap the tire easily. So you want either bolt on piece right here and not on the skewer itself. So when you tighten your skewer, it's actually sitting on this. So now I'll show you what I mean. So you can see my actually I'm gonna sit this right there where it's supposed to sit for the frame mount, and you can see the amount of distance it's from. So if it has like distance like that, until you can get a tire that has the right correct axle length to it. There we go. Back to front camera and back on my mount. Okay. Yeah, these are just grips you can slip on. So I'm just gonna slowly take this off. use the cable for this. It's probably not going to build. So I'm going to have to probably use some cable housing. Works. Means I got to bring more tools out. Yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. Okay. Too small or too wide? That's the question. Okay, gotta grab a cable. Hey. Hmm. The heck? What the heck? Something closed my Discord. Weird. Okay. Maybe I should get the other friction shifter. This one doesn't look like a big thing. Especially if I go under, then yeah. Okay. Again. Should take this shifter out. The wonderful sound of a friction shifter. Doesn't just give you joys. No, 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 no. Screws. Looks like I'm gonna have to replace that now. Screws. I could put this somewhere else, but my brain is not as round as the handlebars, so that's unlikely to put it somewhere unless it's basically right here. Huh. That's weird. It's old fashioned. Thank you. Now I got this right back. Was Yeah. Put the right piece on. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use this cable out, but I want to see which end I am. And it's this end, so cut square end off. And I'm not very good pliers, so I'm going to do that and lose that. There we go. Keep that.
Then now for the fun parts. What is the keyboard ride? Just twist there. Now, friction shifters don't need to bottle as much tuning to this sort of work. Oh, that's nice. Yes. I'm printed. Don't have another one for the moment. Hopefully. Use the print. Got one more time. And I probably just did something so stupid that I learned that. More. Okay. That should be tuned. Got to adjust the stopping power. Oh, no. Oh, see. Okay, since I am.
wondering, yes, I do have 2 kickstands on my bike. Obvious reasons. Okay. So that should be that. Now I have a handlebar that actually fits. Because it's a tiny one. You know what I could do? I can do something that's actually funny. I did this on my other bike. It was actually hilarious. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Created this. Let me- It's all like it's put together. Uh, there. And now we're back together. Awesome. Anyways, okay, I go. Peace, everybody.